Kemi named their son Light because, in his words, "Even in darkness, this boy will be my shining hope." From the first day, Kemi did everything for his child. He bathed him, cooked his pap, washed his tiny clothes, and rocked him to sleep at night while Obiajiri snored or scrolled through her phone. Whenever the baby cried at midnight, Kemi would whisper softly, "Shoo, my light. Papa is here." He carried the child on his back to fetch water, tied him with an old wrapper, and sang lullabies under the moonlight. The neighbors often said, "That man loves his son more than his own life." Obiajiri, however, grew colder by the day. She barely touched the boy. When Kemi begged her to help sometimes, she would snap, "Don't disturb me. You like to play housemaid, continue." Years passed. When Light turned 2, Kemi used his small savings to enroll him in a nursery school in the next village. He bought a tiny blue uniform, a red lunchbox, and cheap sandals from the market. That first morning, he woke up before sunrise. He cooked yam porridge, dressed his son, and tied his shoelaces carefully. He brushed Light's hair and said proudly, "My son, you're going to school today. Make Papa proud." Light smiled, his eyes bright and innocent. "Papa, will you come back and pick me?" Kemi smiled through tears. "Always, my son. I will never leave you." While other mothers dropped their children off, it was Kemi, a tired but gentle man, who walked with his son every morning, holding his little hand. People in the village whispered, "A man caring for a child like a mother. Wonders shall never end." But Kemi didn't care. For him, Light was the only reason he was still alive. At night, while Obiajiri partied with friends, Kemi sat outside with his son, pointing at the stars. "That one," he said, "is yours, my Light. You will shine brighter than all of them." "Kemi, you are not the biological father of Light. He belongs to one of my lovers." Years rolled by like the wind. Kemi worked hard, sometimes taking 2 jobs just to make sure his son, Light, lacked nothing. He sold firewood, farmed on weekends, and even washed clothes for people in the city. All for one reason, Light's future. Obiajiri, on the other hand, lived carelessly. She wore fine clothes, attended every party, and laughed loudest at every gathering. To her, Kemi was still that small man who talks too much. But destiny had its own plans. Light grew up brilliant, gentle, and respectful. He loved books as much as he loved his father. When he gained admission to the university to study law, the whole village rejoiced. Everyone said, "That boy is his father's copy, quiet, kind, and humble." Obiajiri smiled before people, but deep down she was restless. She could feel the distance between her and her son widening every day. Light called Kemi a "Papa, my hero," but called her just Mommy. She noticed he told Kemi everything but never told her anything. Each time he came home from school, he ran to hug Kemi first. Jealousy began to eat her heart like fire. One evening, she sat on the veranda, watching Kemi polish Light's old shoes for school. A dark thought entered her mind: if he continues like this, when the boy succeeds, he'll forget me completely. That night, when Kemi came to sleep, Obiajiri turned and said coldly, "Kemi, there's something you should know. Light is not your son." Kemi froze. His hand dropped from the mat. He thought he didn't hear well. What did you say?" he whispered. Obiajiri folded her arms. "You heard me. That boy doesn't belong to you. He belongs to one of my friends. You have been raising another man's child all these years." The word stopped. Kemi felt something break inside his chest. He looked at her, his lips trembling. "Obiajiri, after everything. After all the sleepless nights. The hunger. The sacrifices." She only smiled. "Well, now you know. Maybe you'll stop behaving like you own the world." Kemi couldn't speak again. Tears rolled down his cheeks as he stared at the wall, memories flooding his mind. Light's first steps, his first words, the nights he sang him to sleep, the mornings they walked hand in hand to school. He stood up slowly and walked outside. The moon was high, the same moon that once gave him hope. He knelt on the ground and whispered, "God, if this is true, why did you let me love him this much?" But in his heart, he refused to believe her. He said to himself, "Even if light didn't come from my blood, he came from my heart, and that's stronger than blood." After that night, Kemi couldn't sleep. Obiadri's words kept echoing in his head. "Light is not your son." He tried to forget, but every smile from Light, every "Papa, I love you," only deepened the pain. One afternoon, while Light was in school, Kemi made a bold decision. He borrowed money from a friend in the city and went for a DNA test. He needed the truth, no matter how painful. Days later, the result arrived. Kemi opened the envelope with trembling hands. Tears filled his eyes as he read the words. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. The tested man, Kemi, is the biological father of Light. He fell to his knees and wept, not in pain this time, but in relief. "Thank you, God," he whispered. "You have fought for me." But just when peace was returning, evil was planning again. Obiadri, desperate and afraid that Kemi might expose her lies, called one of her male friends, the same man she had once cheated with. He told him, "Come tomorrow and claim Light. Say he's your son. We'll take him away from this house and start a new life." The next day, the man arrived with a small bag, pretending to be Light's real father. They waited for Kemi to leave for work, not knowing he had already informed the police. Just as they were preparing to leave the compound with Light, a police van stopped and 2 police officers stepped out. "Good afternoon. We received a report that you're trying to take a child without legal proof," the officer said firmly. Obiadri's face turned pale. Her lover tried to talk. "Officer, this is my son." "Your son," the officer cut in. "Then show us your evidence." Silence filled the air. They looked at each other helplessly. At that moment, Kemi came out holding the DNA result. He handed it to the police officer. "This is my evidence. I am Light's father, and the truth is written here." The officer read the paper and nodded. He turned to Obiadri and her lover. "So you plan to take this man's child? You are both under arrest." Obiadri fell to her knees, crying. "Please, officer. I was only angry. I didn't mean it." But it was too late. The police handcuffed her and her lover as the villagers gathered, whispering. Kemi stood quietly, tears of victory and sorrow mixed on his face. He looked up to the sky and said, "God of justice, you never fail." Light ran into his arms, holding him tightly. "Papa, what's happening?" Kemi smiled through his tears. "Nothing, my son. The truth has just come to light, just like your name." Years passed swiftly like a flowing river. Obiadri and her lover faced the law for their deceit and betrayal. Kemi, though hurt deeply, chose forgiveness over bitterness. He told the court, "Let them go. I want peace, not revenge." That single act of mercy touched everyone's heart. From that day, blessings began to follow him. Light never forgot the man who raised him with love and tears. He studied harder, fueled by the memories of his father's struggles. When he finally graduated as a lawyer, the whole village celebrated. They said, "Indeed, Light has brought light to his father's life." Months later, he returned home, not the small boy with dusty shoes, but a successful young man in a fine suit, driving a shining car. He stepped down, walked straight to Kemi, and knelt. "Papa," he said, eyes filled with emotion, "this is for every night you stayed hungry so I could eat, for every tear you hid from me. I am what I am today because of you." Kemi couldn't hold back his tears. He raised his son and hugged him tightly. Light took his father to the city and surprised him with a beautiful mansion and 2 new cars. He said softly, "You suffered enough, Papa. From today, you will know peace and comfort." Kemi's hands trembled as he touched the car, then the walls of the mansion. He looked to heaven and whispered, "God, you turned my tears into testimonies." Father and son lived happily, their bonds stronger than ever. Light became one of the most respected lawyers in the state, known not just for his brilliance, but for his humility and love for his father. Obiajiri, now older and forgotten, often heard people say, if she had valued her husband, she would have shared in his glory. She wept bitterly, realizing too late that pride can destroy what love built. And in the village of Umokoro, Kemi's story became a lesson for generations. Never despise a humble beginning, and never trade true love for pride. Moral lessons. Patience may cry for a while, but it never loses. A true father is not defined by blood, but by love and sacrifice. Women, respect your husbands, no matter their size, shape, or status. Pride destroys what humility builds. The man you look down on today may become the one the world celebrates tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to my YouTube channel Marvelous Stories TV and click the notification bell so you don't miss any new stories. On Facebook, don't forget to follow, like, comment, and share this video to support my page.